Hey, what's going on, traders? Happy Thursday. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into today's video. And as usual, let's go ahead and get right into today's recap. And I did want to make a quick disclaimer, right? I have to mention it that I am trading on a paper account, right? That's why you do see the simulated trading on the top left here. But in terms of how I actually did, I was able to walk away with almost a 1.4% profit, right? I do trade with 10K. And so I was up $190 on SQQQ, and I took a $53 loss on TQQQ. And so, these are all my filled orders. As you guys can see, I stopped trading at 8:15, right, a.m. and I started trading right around market open, right, at 6:33 in the morning. And so I'm going to go ahead and just walk you guys through, what my thought process was and how I was able to walk away green on the day. And so in terms of what I was actually seeing, right, the market was selling off during the pre-market hours pretty aggressively as is. And right around 5:30, there was actually some reports that came out, right? So as you guys can see, there was a list of all of these reports that came out today, and these are all listed in Eastern time, right? So all of these at say 8:30 a.m. were really released 1 hour before market open at 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so if you guys recall from yesterday's video, or pretty much my videos this week, you may have heard me say that bad news is good news and good news is bad news in this type of bearish market, because of the fact that if stuff is being reported worse than expected, then that's technically good news, because of the fact that the Federal Reserve is trying to combat inflation by raising interest rates, right? So when there are, like, for example, more unemployment claims and stuff like that, the market tends to actually react positively, because of the fact that it's feeling the effects of the interest rate hikes, right? That's what was intended for the market to feel. And so if the market's still doing good, even with them raising interest rates, and stuff is performing better than expected, then the market will tend to react negatively in most cases, right? Doesn't mean all the time, but because of the fact that it may mean that the Federal Reserve will have to be more aggressive with their interest rate hikes. And so as we can pretty much see, this thing started to sell off right at 5:30 in the morning, and lots of people were talking about this retail sales that came out, right? As you guys can see, what was expected was a 0.1% decrease, but we actually got a 0.6% decrease reported. And so it was a lot worse than what was even expected. So although that's technically, bad news is good news in these types of markets, in the sense that, if it's, worse than what was expected, you would think that inflation is doing its job, and that's a positive thing. But because it was just so much worse than what was even expected of it to be at, then it really causes selling pressure even heading into tomorrow, right? So as you guys can see, we've just been this past week has been very bearish, right? We did have that positive report right on the 12th or 13th, I forget which day it was, and then ultimately we've just pulled back since then, right? We pulled on back, tried to test the EMA, the 180-day EMA moving average, and as we broke below it, we've just been completely selling off, as you guys can see, right? So on the bigger time frame, it's not like this was unexpected. I did mention that we are more overextended on these levels and do tend to pull on back. So am I super shocked that we pulled on this aggressively? Not really, right? And from where it's actually trying to find a potential support, it would make sense because of where it's previously bounced, but doesn't mean it has to, right? It could blow through this thing and continue to sell off like it has before, where sells off and breaks below the supports without even really hesitating. But we just have to follow up and see what ends up happening with that, right? Although I was able to walk away green on the day, right, in terms of the paper account, on my real account, it was a bloodbath. Lots of my stocks were down today, and my biggest loser was actually Roblox. So let me put your attention to that. Roblox, I only have $1,000 invested in each company. This thing was down 15% today. So I lost, about $150 on the day. It could have been a little more, to be honest, from, where it closed out yesterday. And so what actually ended up happening was, this thing just absolutely tanked. And if you look at what news articles were saying, right, they were pretty much just saying that the company wasn't growing as much as it was expected. And so ultimately that was very bad news for it. As you can see on the bigger time frames, right? This thing is almost at near lows in terms of what it's been priced, right? The lowest this thing has been at in the past 3 years is $21.65. We're currently at $27.91, and it has hit highs of $141. So, am I too worried? Obviously, the news was not good that was reported, but overall, long term, if I feel like I see lots of value in them, then I'm gonna continue to hold. But otherwise, if we keep seeing these, bearish news catalysts that keep occurring and it breaks below the support, then I may, think about the idea of cutting losses. But until then, I'm just gonna, plan on holding long term. I do see lots of growth in Roblox and other companies like Tesla, for example, right? We can see this thing has been selling off very aggressively. And, even the past 180 days, as you guys can see, right, if I zoom on out, this thing has just been absolutely bleeding. And so, lots of bad news going on with Tesla, but I am still, excited long term to see what it does, because as you guys can see, there's lots of potential, upside versus the downside now at these current price points. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to mention today. I do appreciate you guys tuning on to today's video. If you guys have any questions at all, you guys can go ahead and drop a comment. Want me to break down any stock, I am, more than happy to do that for you guys. And other than that, I will be posting a recap tomorrow, so I hope to see you guys then. Take care and have a good rest of your day.